Thank you, Andrew. So yeah, let's kick off with Sarah Ferguson then. So you wrote, I think you described it as a game of luxury hide and seek that she's been playing in these various luxury resorts around the world. What do we know about what's going on there at the moment?
For more than 200 days, she completely vanished from the face of the earth. No public sightings, no press releases, absolutely nothing. Then, a single high-definition photograph from a frozen mountain peak in the Austrian Alps shattered the silence. The tabloids called it a lucky break. The reality? It was an inside job. Deep in the shadows of a legal system where unauthorized cameras are strictly outlawed, a fallen royal was forced to orchestrate her own exposure. She wasn't hunted down by the press, she brought them to her door. But this alpine handover is just the tip of a much darker multi-million-pound collapse. To understand how the walls finally closed in on her, you have to see the unsealed documents that surfaced just weeks ago. Secrets so explosive that her own daughters are begging her to keep them buried. If you watch this investigation to the very end, the final desperate chapter of this story will completely change everything you thought you knew about the cost of royal survival. We're exposing the hidden machinery behind the world's biggest headlines, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join our inner circle. We'd love to have you along for the ride.
I think what was very interesting about the revelation of her sort of coming out of hiding is that the photographer who took the photograph is well known to Sarah Ferguson, is sort of one of her team photographers. And it appeared in the Sun newspaper, who've always, of course, been very close to Sarah Ferguson. So there's some suspicions, Lauren the Insider has kind of looked into this, that this was a sort of set-up job. She may well have been paid for this. Lots of money was flying around as people tried to find her.
The alpine air in Austria was freezing, but the sudden appearance of Sarah Ferguson sent shockwaves straight back to London. For months, the public was told she was simply resting in a private retreat. But insiders say the truth is far more calculated. She didn't just stumble into a camera lens, she allegedly walked right into a trap of her own making. To the untrained eye, the luxury vehicle and the exclusive chalet looked like the typical playground of the ultra-wealthy. But look closer at the geography. Look at the timing. Austria enforces some of the strictest privacy laws on the planet. Taking a single photo of a public figure without their consent can lead to a massive legal battle. Yet, there she was, captured in crystal clear quality. This brings us to a detail that the mainstream media completely overlooked. The man holding the camera wasn't a local freelancer trying to make a quick buck. Reports suggest it was a veteran photographer who has spent 3 decades operating right out of Windsor, the very backyard of the royal family. A man deeply embedded in the establishment media machine. For an elite London photographer to randomly cross paths with her in a secluded mountain village is mathematically almost impossible, unless, of course, he had precise directions. Rumors indicate that the Sun went to extraordinary lengths to hide the exact name of the luxury spa. That level of protection is rarely given to a celebrity who has genuinely been ambushed. It has all the markings of a highly negotiated media trade. She needed the spotlight, and more importantly, she needed the funding. But why would a former member of the royal family resort to staging her own exposure? The answer lies in the staggering bills she was secretly accumulating behind the scenes, including a shocking £76,000 a week stay at an elite clinic. Her financial world wasn't just cracking, it was completely evaporating. And as the bills mounted, she knew she had to deploy a tactic she had used once before. A desperate playbook that, years earlier, had already caught the attention of the global elite and landed her on a hidden camera that nearly destroyed her life forever.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit.
£40,000 in cold, hard cash sat on a table right in front of her, and she tucked it directly into a computer case. To understand the sheer desperation of her modern alpine gamble, you have to go back to the exact moment the public mask completely slipped. It was 2010, and a devastating undercover sting operation caught her red-handed on a hidden camera. she was caught offering to sell direct access to her ex-husband for the staggering sum of £500,000. The footage shocked the world, exposing a level of financial panic no one saw coming. Though a public apology followed quickly, the damage to her brand was absolute. Reports suggest the fallout from that single room destroyed roughly £40 million in potential future earnings overnight. But this wasn't a sudden lapse in judgment. It was the breaking point of a systemic problem that began the moment she walked away from the crown. When her divorce was finalized in 1996, she left with a settlement of approximately $475,000. To put that in perspective, Princess Diana received $22 million in that exact same year. Insiders say she chose friendship over a massive payout to stay close to the monarch. But friendship doesn't pay the bills for a lifestyle built on extreme luxury. At the peak of her marriage, she managed a staggering staff of 17 people, including a personal flower arranger and an assistant just for her accountant. This level of spending was statistically impossible to maintain. She scrambled for legitimate cash, pulling in millions from commercial deals and publishing over 40 books. According to sources, she even accepted £100,000 just to be a businessman's date to the Vienna Opera Ball. Yet, the debt kept piling up. By late 2025, major global charities officially severed all ties with her name, including prominent cancer trusts and heart foundations. Her own private charitable foundation was forced into an immediate, indefinite shutdown. The woman who once held court in palaces was suddenly being treated as a complete social pariah. But public embarrassment was only the beginning of the fallout. The legal and social institutions that had protected her for decades were preparing to take away the one thing she valued above all else, her identity, leaving her utterly isolated and setting up a historic collapse that would push her straight toward her most desperate gamble yet. They stripped away her historic title, but the blow that cut the deepest happened behind closed doors in a unanimous public vote. By late 2025, the final threads holding her royal identity together were officially severed. She was no longer the Duchess of York, losing a courtesy title she had carried for decades. Then came the spring of 2026. In a brutal public move, the city of York voted unanimously to strip her of the freedom of the city, an honor she had held with pride since 1987. Local leaders made it clear that while they didn't expect saints, they drew a hard line at her controversial associations. Her public standing was completely gone, but her financial engine was about to suffer an even greater catastrophe. By February 2026, 6 separate corporate companies where she served as the sole director were forced to file for an immediate strike-off. Her domestic revenue streams were entirely frozen, shutting down her remaining business operations overnight. She turned her eyes across the Atlantic, hoping a massive American publishing deal would save her from total ruin. It is claimed that a potential $1.75 million book contract was on the table. But as the unsealed court files dominated global headlines, that deal collapsed into thin air. With her businesses gone and her titles erased, she was backed into a corner with only one card left to play. Reports suggest she began quietly shopping around a raw tell-all memoir. This final, desperate pitch sent immediate shockwaves through her own immediate family. Rumors indicate that her own daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, were deeply shaken by the move, fearing the consequences of airing even more royal laundry to the highest bidder. The walls had completely closed in, leaving her in a state of absolute isolation. With her income gone and her family fractured, she needed a massive, immediate public reset to survive. And that is exactly what brings us back to the freezing peaks of the Austrian Alps, where a highly strategic loophole was about to be deployed to fund a lifestyle that her bank account could no longer support.
I mean, she is a sort of Teflon duchess. Things keep being thrown at her with a great deal of proof about her activities, and yet they don't really seem to stick for very long.
She was legally broke on paper, yet she was spending thousands of pounds a day living like an absolute queen in the shadows. During her 7-month disappearance from the public eye, she wasn't hiding away in a modest retreat. Insiders say she was bouncing between some of the most exclusive destinations in Europe. According to sources, part of her missing time was spent at an elite medical clinic in Zurich. The bill for that stay allegedly came to a staggering £76,000 a week. From there, she reportedly retreated to a series of high-end luxury chalets hidden deep in the mountains. It was a level of comfort that seemed statistically impossible for someone facing total financial ruin. This brings us right back to those strange photographs on the snowy Austrian slopes. When a woman with a decades-long history of trading on her royal connections suddenly resurfaces, the timing is never an accident. The pieces of the puzzle finally start to fit together perfectly. Reports suggest that the Sun's unusual decision to hide the exact name of her alpine location wasn't out of respect for her privacy. It is believed to be a carefully negotiated clause in a highly lucrative media deal. She provided the exclusive images and they provided the discretion. It is the ultimate luxury loophole. She used the very same media machine that exposed her past scandals to quietly bankroll her current survival. She turned her own crisis into a highly profitable transaction, keeping her lifestyle afloat while the rest of her world crumbled. But playing a game this dangerous with the media always comes with a massive catch. She may have successfully funded her alpine escape, but her final, most desperate gamble was about to trigger an irreversible rift. A hidden conflict brewing right within her own bloodline that could permanently cost her the support of the only people she has left to lose. Her own daughters are reportedly begging her to stop, but she may no longer have a choice. The silent war brewing inside her immediate family has reached a critical breaking point. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are facing an absolute nightmare. Insiders say the two sisters are deeply terrified of what comes next. For years, they have fought incredibly hard to maintain their own fragile standing within the modern monarchy. But their mother's latest financial maneuvers threaten to pull them straight into the blast zone. The reported plan for a raw, unfiltered tell-all memoir has created an unbridgeable rift. According to sources, her daughters know that airing more royal laundry to the highest bidder could permanently destroy their own lives. They are allegedly pleading with her to bury the project for good. Yet, the staggering mountain of debt keeps pushing her forward. She is running out of bridges to burn, and she is running out of time. The alpine images were supposed to be a clever illusion of wealth and security. But behind that smiling face in the snow lies a woman completely isolated from the institution she once called home. The royal family has quietly but firmly closed the gates. The ultimate question is no longer if they will cut her off, but how much damage she will cause before she finally stops. She traded a massive divorce settlement for friendship with the monarch decades ago, but in the year 2026, that ancient currency has run completely dry. This alpine gamble wasn't a victory lap, it was the opening move of a final, desperate chapter that is about to push the entire royal household into uncharted territory. And the fallout will be absolutely historic.
But lots of stories again, whether she is going to do some big expensive interview or lucrative rather I should say, interview or book, how much pressure is being put on her by the palace and others not to do so, whether this is a negotiating tactic in order to get paid off. So in some ways, though we kind of know the story with the former Prince Andrew, what's happening to Sarah Ferguson now and over the last few months and what's going to happen in the future is still a great mystery.
The snowy peaks of the Austrian Alps were supposed to represent a fresh, untouched slate, a pristine hideaway where the world couldn't reach her. Instead, they became the backdrop for her most calculated transaction yet. Every clue we've uncovered points to an undeniable pattern. For 30 long years, whenever the debt piles too high, the same desperate playbook gets opened. She uses her proximity to the British Crown as the ultimate financial safety net, trading palace secrets and choreographed access for the liquidity she needs to survive. But as her titles vanish, her charities close, and her own daughters plead with her to think of the family's future, she is rapidly running out of cards to play. The luxury chalet and the staged smile in the snow were not signs of a woman in control. They were the actions of someone entirely isolated, trapped in a loop of her own making, realizing that her historical connections can no longer pick up the tab. In the fast-moving world of 2026, the gates of the monarchy are locking tight, and the ultimate bill is finally coming due. But what do you think? Is she a survivor masterfully pulling the strings of the media to fund her own life? Or is she a tragic figure who simply doesn't know how to exist outside the crowd-funded luxury she lost decades ago? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I read every single one of them. If this deep dive completely changed how you look at the headlines, don't leave just yet. Click on the video popping up on your screen right now for an even more shocking look behind the closed doors of the royal household. And before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. We're uncovering the untold truths the mainstream media refuses to touch, and you definitely won't want to miss our next investigation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.